Hello there, welcome back. It's Miss Wagner, Stories to Live By, inspired by my students. Now, I know that every time I start one of these videos, I always say inspired by my students, but I've never really explained why or how that came to be. I was a teacher for many years, 19 years to be exact, and then I quit teaching, and a friend of mine suggested that I become a substitute teacher. And I thought, okay, I'll try that for a couple of months. And I ended up doing it for quite a number of years, quite a few years. And being a substitute teacher is a little bit different than being a permanent teacher because when you're a permanent teacher, you're there with your students every day. You get to know them, you know their names, you know their parents, and you really get to know them well. But when you're a substitute teacher, that's just not the case. Sometimes you're only gonna see them for one day, or you're only gonna see them for sometimes one class period. And I knew that I had a short period of time to make a positive impression. So what I did was I started coming up with stories. So I would get a call and I'd say, "Oh, you're gonna teach high school math." So I thought, I got to come up with a math story. Or they say, "You're gonna teach middle school science." So I'd have to come up with a science story. Or you're gonna teach high school history. So I come up with a history story. So I had these stories. And one day, one of my students said to me, um, and this student I had tutored, and I would always tell him one of my stories. And he said to me, he said, Luella, he said, "Why don't you put your stories on a YouTube channel?" And I thought, oh, maybe I'll do that. So anyway, I finally got around to doing it. So that student's name was Grant. So Grant, thank you so much for the inspiration. And then when I was subbing, sometimes I get a long-term assignment. And at the end of 2 or 3 months, I'd be leaving, and the students would be, "Oh, Miss Wagner, we're going to miss you." And I'd say, "No, you can watch me on YouTube." So that's how these YouTube videos came into being. So today, this is a story that I told when I was teaching a math class, a high school math class, and it is